analysis team and hand you over to our commentators. It's Blitz and Cap to take you through series number 3.
That's right. It's not too often that from the start of a draft we really zone in on one lane that's going to be all important, but it is definitely going to be interesting. The Sumail versus mid 1 matchup, SF versus Templar Assassin. You heard Kyle's take on it. Blitz, what's your experience with that matchup?
I don't think it's like impossible. He said it was the worst matchup in Dota, and I played like Storm versus your techies before. Like they're definitely worse matchups than SFTA. Because I think that if you're successful early on with CS, and then you can just trade out farm against the TA, and then when you hit 6, you just abandon the mid lane or you get sentries.
What would you say the percentage of the matchup is?
I'd say it's like a 70-30 lane.
And that's
obviously that's why they picked it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see why because they last picked the SF into the TA, correct?
And that, I mean, like having such a matchup like that, especially against someone who is so prolific from the mid lane position as mid 1 is, this isn't like some slouches that they're facing up against. This isn't somebody that Sumail can just outscale and be like, I'm the king, I can do whatever I want. This is mid 1 we're talking about.
Yeah, I saw a year ago, it was like Sumail, I mean, you guys can go find the match history if you want. It was like Sumail played against me and Gunnar in a pub, and he was SF and Gunnar counterpicked him TA, and he solo killed him like 3 times. So like, I mean, Sumail won the matchup, but obviously mid 1 is... and that was also a different Gunnar.
Yeah.
But Sumail won that matchup. That was like about a year ago, around this time, I think. In June, so like June 16th.
So that was before Gunnar was really making his move.
But he was still like a top 100 player.
Yeah, he was.
And Sumail just dumpstered him. Yeah. But I do like Secret's draft a lot more, personally. I think EG has to win the mid game, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because I think what it comes down to for me when top teams play against each other is how the team fights will go. Eventually, you will have to get into a team fight. If the laning phase isn't really one-sided, which it might be just for Secret with the way if like the TA really stomps the SF or anything like that, it means that if I look at Secret's lineup and if I look at EG's lineup objectively, I see a lineup that once people get BKBs, Secret's lineup, there's nothing that stops that on EG's side. Like, what does EG have? So then you need to get to a point where you need a Hex on SF or something like that, or Hex on Puck to be able to start fights easy.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, really, your only stun is like Coil or Pango ult, right? Which I think has like, it has any sort of like high wind-up time stun like that is very ineffective against BKBs.
Yes. Like, you can get Blink Dagger, but at the end of the day, if like you're still not able to start the fight as soon as you want it.
Yeah. Right. And Puppey's even here to make a matchup which I think is very TA favored, even more TA favored.
Yeah.
But Sumail, off the bat, I mean, having 3 CS here I think is really quite good, considering you have like half of her attack damage.
Yeah, the base damage difference at the start is pretty bad. He did go raises first.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, right? Otherwise, you shouldn't get that CS against mid 1.
And I think the reason why you do it is because you don't want to get denied by the TA anyways, because you would stay level 1 after the first wave. You're not doing anything with your mana because you have no kill opportunity, I think, on the TA.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to pressure her in the lane because when her refract is only like level 1 or 2, you can get quite aggressive and just keep right-click chipping her while she's trying to CS. Because essentially right now she's a melee hero.
Yeah. Real quickly, let's talk about some of the other lanes. Zai's going to roll in onto Fly here with the help of Puppey, who's rotated out of that mid lane. Notice that Zai has actually started off with double Stout Shield. And you could see why against this. Normally that's for offlaners who want to be able to creep skip, but this is a lane that pretty much only has right-click harassment.
Yeah, and it's both range heroes, so it has even more value. I think for EG anyways, they have to... Oh, and mid 1 is quite low when we look over. I think EG have to do really well in the lanes to win this game. But Crit, getting quite low here, getting body blocked up by Nisha. He has to go the other way.
That's going to be your first blood for YapzOr. You know, you say they have to do really well in their lanes, but they've got some supports that don't offer you a whole lot of great laning phase. 4 position Pango doesn't offer you much. He really only comes online once he has 6. And Visage, I mean, that's a pretty hit or miss support hero as well. That's another very unique aspect of this draft, is that EG have gone for that 5 position Visage, like we saw back in the day.
This mid lane's getting like absolutely rolled, by the way, right now. And this is with the help of the Warlock early on. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
17-2 compared to 9-3.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle said it was like the most one-sided matchup, but it is like 70-30, I think. Anyone that's played TASF knows that it is quite nice for TA, just because you can't right-click early on, and the way that Refract works, like you have to one at a time burn with raises. Doesn't feel very pleasant.
Is he just like chain funneling mangoes to himself? Is that...
he found a regen rune, which really helped.
Oh, okay.
That's the caveat here that we have to add. And he keeps doing this where he double raises the wave, pushes it in, and then your Refract gets burned out very quickly.
I know from my time with CCNC that there's nothing that triggers mid laners more is the 2 or 4 minute regen rune.
Yeah.
That can change
DD.
matchups.
The DD.
The DD one?
Haste and Invis is like
CCC,
whatever.
He always complained about the regen to me.
Oh, really?
It's like the regen just changes the matchup.
I mean, what does CCNC not get bothered by, if I'm honest?
That's true, that's true. He
I
gets
like
triggered
Quinn,
a lot.
but if there's something that'll mildly perturb him, he'll let you know about it.
What do you think about Earth Spirit as a core?
I think it's really interesting. We used to see it a lot with Weehaw, and part of it is it's a core that comes with its own team fight. And so, like this hero, it doesn't scale excellently, but like in terms of the mid-game fights, and I think that's why they picked it against this like Drow lineup, where you have to have a hero that can just like fight in the mid-game. I think it's very effective, and it helps that I think Zai, I don't think he's the best player on Secret, but I think he might be the most valuable because of what he brings to the table. It's like, oh yeah, sure, you know, you used to be a 4-position player, so you know, just Earth Spirited up.
Okay.
And you know, if you ask him about it, like half the heroes Puppey picks him, he's like, well, I haven't played it in a while, but you know, I just kind of do it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
It's just I'd say he's like one of the more naturally skilled players in Dota because of his ability to do that as
Roland, nice kick. Is going to be able to nail 2, and he picks up the bounty rune. If they can get a kill off of it, it'd be great, but unfortunately Crit is here, and that's going to make this matchup a little bit more lopsided. He loses his life, even if he does pick up the bounty runes. 3 out of 4, I believe, went to Secret there. EG just pick up, or haven't picked it up yet, but it is sitting there.
Yeah, so we talked about how when it comes to like the late game and BKBs are active and stuff like that, I do favor Secret's lineup, and so you need to win laning phase if you're EG. And when it comes to CS right now, they're doing very well for themselves.
Yeah,
they've won all 3 lanes quite handedly too when it comes to CS. Like that is a big difference. And so for Secret, the game plan now shifts from trying to win the laning phase to now sort of just like, I think you do some stacks and stuff like that.
It's a lucky shot proc, but if they can actually get on top of that shrine, start getting the healing, he's going to be good. Crit, just not bringing enough damage to the table with the Visage as well. Both of them can be kind of low damage supports, so...
He is going to probably just suicide, right?
Yeah, there's no way he can get out of this one as he is 20 mana away from the next swashbuckle. Tosses over into the round of tier 2 tower and takes a shot. He did force a rotation out of YapzOr though, leaving Nisha alone with S4 top.
You know my favorite thing about YapzOr and Rubik is the Fade Bolt KS.
Yes.
He's the king of it.
Yes. He will always take that last hit. He wants that, like, his build is sort of unique, right? Where he goes for the very fast dual scepter.
Oh, good one. He does have traps available, and he's going to get real low, but YapzOr does come here to defend out. And Crit with some nice rotations early on. The move to go to the bottom lane into the mid lane. Yeah. I think helping his team sort of right the ship a little bit.
You could see the effectiveness of the Pango against the TA. I guess as a support position, you've got a great way to burn through refraction charges, right? It totals up to 6. If you get the swashbuckle through the hero, that's 5 different hits. So your refraction just gets burned out almost immediately. Mid one was good enough though to be able to get back. Doesn't actually get punished for that.
For EG, I think the way that you want to essentially move this next is to put Crit mid, allow him to soak up XP, and try to get his 6 relatively early on, so that you have a hero that can effectively match the pace of the Earth Spirit at the same time. And you want to get that, I think, before Puppey hits 6 himself, which now with the 2 tomes upgrade makes it so that your 5 position doesn't just completely get screwed.
Oh, that's right. Do you think that's where we're going to be heading? Is it the 4 and 5 position, get both the tomes? We get our supports, both of them, to level 6 guaranteed? Or do you think there's going to be any core shenanigans with that?
I think with Warlock especially, you want the 6 online as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like high impact high impact fight positions that have like these really long ult cooldowns, like Lion, Warlock. I think you want to get these going as fast as possible because you want your first run through of it to not have to matter as much. Because when you hit the mid game, like 16, 17 minutes, you just hit level 6, it means that your ulti usage has to be a lot more careful. Whereas if you use it at level 10, realistically speaking, like all that is tempo. And you don't feel so bad for having failed an attempt with it. Whereas
it's like the Juggernaut who like picks up his level 6 and he immediately tries to kill the offlaner with it. Like you might as well use it, put it on cooldown.
Why not? If it fails, whatever. If it works, fantastic for you. You've upgraded your laning phase a little bit as Zai with his level 6.
Just gonna take him out here with the stones.
You achieve harmony.
I think you're actually the perfect person to talk to about Earth Spirit Core, just because really the only real notable instance of Core Earth Spirit was, as you said, the Weehaw mid. I can't actually remember a whole lot of Core Earth Spirits outside of him.
I mean, Weehaw's just obsessed with weird things.
How did the team feel about it?
I mean, the thing about Weehaw is like you just kind of had to let him do his thing. There's just some players that I think are really unique in that regard, where you just sort of have to trust them as top.
Oh, this time around, S4, he'd been pretty careful with all of his orb usage, but that time he tries to go for CS right as they initiate on him.
That was the timing of that was really well done by Secret. There's not a whole lot that S4 can do. That's one of those plays where you just like give them a hand, you know, like well done.
I almost want to see that again just to see if they actually, like if they knew he was going to orb, like he set up, you know, because how you sometimes telegraph that, right? You hit the range creep once or twice, you hit this other creep a couple of times. You can know
I think so.
when the Leonids are going to throw the offensive Dragon Slave, or in this case, the puck with the orb.
Oh, Nisha.
Oh, Sumail making an early rotation, almost burst down Nisha, but Nisha will be able to wait for him away, and YapzOr, who stole Swashbuckle, was able to get out as well.
And Sumail gonna go for the Yule Scepter pretty early on. I mean, he's had a really good game. He's 700 net worth up as the X-Men Dark Phoenix replay. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was
Nisha's orb.
That was Nisha's orb. Oh god, that's gonna be really confusing. I just realized we have Morphling and Rubik on the same team, so there's gonna be potentially 3 of the same ability, and we're gonna have to figure out which is which.
Orb on orb on orb.
So that was just straight up a good silence from the stolen Nisha. Puck, Zai, gonna be caught here, silenced up for a little while. Damage to get the coil to interrupt the roll out.
Did you get coil stolen?
And does get it stolen, so YapzOr is gonna be ready to go with that one. Crit's just gonna roll it up here onto the Warlock, and they're gonna burst him down. Crit is immediately looking for the next target. That's gonna be YapzOr, who still has that coil, but doesn't really have a good way to get out of this one. Throws the coil on to fly underneath the tier 1 tower, but triple kill for S4. This is an S4 Puck, boys. You do not want to give him the kind of head start. This is a TI winning hero for him.
Yeah, and this is the kind of pace that they have to set with their lineup.
Oh, Zai's just gonna go for it here. He's not even gonna wait for the rest of his allies to TP in. They're slowly gonna trickle in now, but he's already got the damage over time. Fly's gonna go down here. They're gonna try and pick up S4 as well, but the long cooldown there of the TP just means that Nisha couldn't be there in time to clean up extra kills, so they trade out a 3 for a 5. That can't feel good.
Yeah, but you protected the tower, which I think is more important. Like, people shouldn't, I think, really like think about heroes like, at least in like the first like 12 minutes of the game. Really, the towers matter the most.
Yeah.
Because that'll open up farm for everybody. So Zai dying there, it does suck because you're trading, but if you think about it in terms of you're able to slow down a mid-game pace lineup, like that's the objective here, right? The bigger thing for Secret is to defend their mid tower. Like I think you just sit your Warlock with his level 6 behind this tower and just wait for an opportunity to rock, because he's got it right now.
The smoke up onto the TA. Crit is going to be able to bounce back and forth. The Dream Coil, actually the Warlock Golem slowing him up for a second, but he still managed to get the chainstone onto the TA. Big ultimate let loose by Sumail, almost finished up Zai as he gets Yule Scepter. A second raise, all he needs is the right clicks now to be able to finish him off. That is Evil Geniuses taking on 3 of Secret. They all fall. They're going to try and push this mid-tier 1 tower. And I'll add one more thing that we didn't actually see on camera. Secret accidentally doubled smoked for that one.
I saw the poof, poof.
Yeah.
Just a little bit sloppy. That's, I mean, they knew the move was coming. You saw everybody abandon the bottom tower. You just naturally assume with that. I think they probably thought they had enough with the Warlock ults. But if you look at it here, they just don't have the damage.
Yeah. especially with mid one being the one that's gone on first and controlled up the most. And I guess both those supports have great ways to burn through Refraction. You've got Swashbuckle, which is either 4 or 5 hits, depending on how you go use it. And then you've got the Visage Familiars, which are obviously just going to burn through it super fast as well. This is definitely going to be a tougher game for mid one as the Templar Assassin, especially since he didn't get that big win out of the laning phase.
Yeah, I think what Secret's going to do is they're just going to throw bodies at the mid lane and try to keep Nisha's game as clean as possible.
Yeah.
Get him a BKB early on as Sumail. He's got the Yule Scepter. He'll break it himself.
Crit's going to roll on in here. Hitting Yazied first, trying to hit him again. He's going to try and roll back in. Does manage to clip the TA, but not enough to stop this damage, and gets Rolling Thunder stolen by YapzOr. That is something you're going to have to be real careful.
That was his coil too, right? That he laid out to kill Sumail. So they take the top tower. They're playing opposite end of the map, as they should, I think, just move away from here. Like, just let Nisha do his own thing, get like 3 items and a BKB, and this morph's going to be nigh unkillable here as Puppey. That was a little greedy to walk up there like that, but
just trying to either suicide, get vision down, or doing one of those plays. Sometimes, like, I feel like Solo gets away with it the most. The kind of like, I'm going to suicide in, and if I die, I die, but I'm going to get good vision down if I don't get caught. I feel like Solo somehow gets away with it successfully the most.
So, do we have TA traps all the way, Roche?
Doesn't look like it, no. Not yet.
I'd like to, for Secret, I think that defending Roshan and allowing Nisha to play opposite from the other 4 members of the team are probably the most important things that you're going to do. And for EG, you probably, I mean, it's the opposite, right? You want to try to take this mid tower as soon as possible because you've taken the bottom one. You get control. You protect the triangle for your Drow Ranger and just get like aggressive everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make the map as small as possible for Secret right now.
Fly. Good. Kind of like, I'm not sure if it's a total bluff, but he just positions himself very aggressively with his familiars. Says, I'm going to take this bounty rune, and Secret do not feel good enough about challenging him for that. They get 2 on the other side, so it's not like they lost out there. I do want to talk about our forward position, Pango's build, a 4-0-4 build, which is pretty interesting, especially since the change where you no longer get the silence, just the disarm. Against somebody like the TA, that's going to be fantastic. Against the Morphling, you're going to have to feel as good. But then also the fact he really does need Shield Crash just to prevent the Rubik from stealing it. He's going to be able to get a Swashbuckle in here, but won't stop S4 from dying, giving up that unstoppable 6-time kill streak. And that's not only going to feel bad just from a goal perspective, but also the change in experience.
YapzOr cubing it up. He's coming.
He's going to find him.
He's coming.
And he's going to stick on top of him. There is no outs, it seems, for Crit. So they give up the 3 and the 4 position here, while mid one is pressuring the mid-tier 2 tower. Arteezy's going to fight him back. Sumail blinking forward is going to be able to find Puppey here, and just lets it go. He's fine with letting out that ultimate for an instant kill on a Warlock.
Invisibility.
8-11, 1,000 lead right now for EG, but not really the position I think they wanted to be in at this phase of the game.
Yeah.
Because we talked about their lack of like mid-game or like late-game team fight. I think you want to be at least like 4K ahead if you were EG at this point. And I think they probably expected to take that mid tower.
Yeah.
As Nisha has now entered the fray.
They're going to get a 2-man coil, but he's silenced up right now. S4 is now dead. Arteezy does manage to get really good silence for the side here. Hitting up in the high ground, not enough to be able to finish up Yazied. These heroes are too tanky.
No
and now Sumail, he's going to be forced back here. The familiars do manage to stall things out a bit, but it also means some familiar bounty for mid one, an extra 200. Oh, just 100 gold.
Okay. 2 HP. But yeah, this is the issue that we outlined with EG's lineup, is just like the sheer lack of control. If you look at 3 of their cores, I mean, it's really only Puck that comes with, you know, in quotes, we'll say stun or some sort of lockdown. Whereas if you look at Secret's lineup, you've got TA traps with the ability to close distance. Same with Morphling, he's got a way to close distance himself. And Earth Spirit, as a 3 position, I mean, you have a core hero that can just roll in, start fights for you. You saw he was very tanky when he did go in.
Like, if you had to identify one hero as like the biggest problem with this EG draft, who's it going to be? Because for me, it's Visage. I'm not really feeling the impact of this 5-position Visage.
It's
so much.
likely the Visage for me.
Yeah.
Like, There's an issue with the lineup when you see EG win a 4-for-0 fight mid, and it doesn't because Secret saved the mid tower, it doesn't impact the game. And that's what I meant in the early 15 minutes. If you're a Dota player, you shouldn't really worry about those deaths. Like, you look silly and fans might criticize you, but who cares about that?
Yeah.
If you're a Pup player and you're defending your tower, and like you're able to force them back because they're all at half HP, realistically, what you lost there is, like, if I had to add it up, like 700 gold plus XP. Whereas you save that mid tower, which is more gold than that. It controls more of the map for you too. It makes it so that
controls her own ancients, which is a huge farming point.
You'll get that money back in the long run.
Right.
Which is why that bottom part, you know, when Zai just dies, you pointed out, it's like, well, it's a 3-for-5. Like, technically, yeah, if you look at it like that, but you're defending towers and you're extending the game in that regard for yourself.
That is something that we have yet to take the mid-tier 1 tower as well as the tier 1 offlane. This is a Drow lineup. Now, Drow Ranger does scale better into the late game than she used to.
Yes, she's no longer an all-or-nothing, all-in threat like she used to be. Before, it felt like if you didn't win the game in 25 minutes with Drow Visage, the game was just over. But now, because of her ulti, it's much better. But I think she's a lot worse than Morph now, right? Or a lot worse versus Morph?
Well, I would argue that Morph is actually one of the heroes that she remains very relevant.
Yeah.
Because you can build armor against it, but
Morph
what Morphling is building armor? You know, what Morphling is like, all right, guys, I'm going to get an assault cuirass on my Morphling. You know, the silence out. Pango is going to be able to get to the other side of the river. Maybe Fly won't be as lucky as he's going to get rolled on by Zai. Pops his ultimate, silenced up, but he's got a blade mail, so the Drow Ranger really can't turn and fight that Earth Spirit, who's just going to run down Fly eventually here. Fly even turning around, knowing that it's all over for him. 11-11, but it definitely feels like Secret have full control of this game as we approach the 20-minute marker.
And Zai understands his job to initiate fights, pop blade mail.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Just like he did it at bottom lane to defend the tower, right? It's like...
Oh, Zai picked up the rune.
Pops his blade mail, is returning a lot of damage on the S4. Mid one coming in, trying to follow up on that with his BKB now activated. Sumail actually gets the kill on Puppey. YapzOr rolling through S4, is able to get a kill there. And crits.
The cube looks so funny to me.
Yeah.
It's just like a Rubik's Cube of death.
I gotta say, I feel very strongly about this. Oh, Yule Scepter. And he's still got his ultimate too. That's refraction just faded out. They do manage to get on top of him still. Mid one is dead, and now YapzOr, who's stolen SF's ultimate, does manage to force staff himself onto low ground. Crit's gonna pursue, doesn't manage to get the lucky shot. Slow here. But where can YapzOr really go to escape from this one? He's gonna have to juke his way through the trees and find a TP point. That's just not possible with Sumail hot on his tail. There is something to be said. EG don't have the objectives that they wanted, but if they do manage to, they've remained relevant in network.
Yeah, I don't think Nisha had TP, because he just had 2 sent to him. And if he has a TP there, and he TPs onto the shrine with the Aegis and Manta, I am pretty sure he just kills everyone. You can stop Sumail from being able to pop his ulti. You most likely save your TA in that situation too, but just gonna take a look at the replay real fast.
And look at the refraction, just like wears out just as he goes back down. But it didn't even matter, just because all those instances of damage just burn through it so quickly. It's almost like their draft like over focuses on TA in some way. I mean, like if they lose, it'll be easier to say like, oh, your draft is too fixated on the hero.
We'll see. I think what would you give the odds right now? Without loading up the thingy.
I would say 60-40 to the favor of Secret. Yeah.
I'd probably say it's like, I'd say similar. If I'm being like absolutely exact, I'd say like 65-35.
Yeah.
Load it up.
I think I'd feel maybe just a little bit more positive about Drow late game.
Oh, they actually think that EG is gonna win.
Oh, really? So they're actually saying it's like a 51-49 matchup.
Interesting.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see how... Like, it has surprised me how good Drow Ranger is late game, but I still have to imagine, like, TA, Morphling, probably going to out-carry, but we'll see. RTZ setting it up here.
There are BKBs now, like, that's what mid one decided to go for.
Yeah.
So they're going to run in. They do
drop the rock. They are going to be able to get on top of this Pango, but don't let him get off that Rolling Thunder. They will not. YapzOr.
They're probably going to go for 2.
They finish him off. And that is one thing. Like every single time Secrets won a team fight, I feel like they've converted it into an objective afterwards.
And more importantly, like they brought Nisha along.
Yeah.
And I think he's strong enough to fight at this point. Plus, when mid one committed, we talked about how important BKB was going to be on the side of Secret. Like once mid one commits to that BKB early on, I think you want to take advantage of that.
Pushing up into the high ground already. Mid-one's just, all right, I'm going in. S4 is going to be able to get the coil. Two-man silence immediately taken off by the Manta from Nisha, as well as the BKB from mid-one. It'll allow them to retreat relatively easily. Looks like they're going to have to leave their captain behind. Captain Puppey.
Hide.
Maybe there's a corner here.
It's undiscovered territory, man. My favorite is when, you know, there's always like two types of players there. It's the captains that just die. You know, they just stop moving. I've never seen Kuroki ever lead anybody on a hot pursuit.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like
a
Puppey and I think Insania as well, for example, like they'll fight to the end. They're throwing spells behind them.
Kurt's like, this isn't worth the mental, like the taxation on my overall mental game here. I'm just gonna accept it and start calling strategy.
I love those. Just like some players will fight to the death and some you just like, oh, this is a very nice smoke opportunity here.
Oh, they actually catch both these heroes. It's going to be massive. They need to be able to spot mid-one. Here's Refraction's going to get burned through. The Rolling Thunder managed to bounce back into him. Nails Puppey to finish him off as well. But YapzOr has stolen the Rolling Thunder and is off to chase some heroes of his own. Unfortunately, couldn't get through that tree, but will be able to bounce back. A beautiful hit on both S4 as well as Crit. They're going to be able to grab up Fly as well. It starts off with 2 kills, but in the end, Evil Geniuses are the one who lose out on the fight. How were they able to take that so confidently in a what could have been a 3 versus 5? Drone Ranger wasn't there, but they didn't know that.
Because now the Morph, when he knows there's no threats, I mean, Nisha just goes in. He doesn't care. Nisha Morphling is very, very scary.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's been relatively untouched.
What are the threats to Morphling? Are there any threats in this game to him?
Yeah, I think, for example, like the heroes that would annoy him are if Pango can get on top of him and they can burst immediately.
Right.
They'd have to do a real quick, they'd have to layer the silences. So like Dro would have to silence first or something like that, and then when he pops his man to the puck, then has the follow-up, and then they hit him in the air. I mean, it's like a very specific way to have to do things as RTZ.
In trouble, is going to go for the TP out, but there's the long-range telekinesis from YapzOr.
That was a real weird position for him to be in too. No real help coming his way.
Yeah.
As we see again, mid one also popped the refraction right before the SF ulti too. That made the fight extend a little bit longer than I think they would have liked to.
Yeah.
Plus Zai's build just allows him to go in and you see that everyone turns away from him, which makes it so that when Nisha waveforms in, you know, he just parts it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, like, very strongly about this. I don't think you go 4-0-4. You go 4-1-3. And every single time you pop a Rolling Thunder, you immediately shield crash.
Yeah.
That's like every single... I feel like that's one of those things where your allies flame you. You're like, you need to pop that ability as quick as possible. You can't give him Rolling Thunder. It's like just too disruptive.
Yeah, the
for
fight's
Rubik to get.
The entire point is, when you have a one position like this, you want to make his life as easy as possible. So you just throw stuff on the ground to make the initiation just like really easy. So like when Zai suicides in with his blade mail pops his ulti, it makes the team fight very chaotic to begin with, and your entire focus is on this Earth Spirit. So then by the time, you know, the Morphling enters the fray, you've popped most of your abilities.
Yeah. Like, to kill this Morphling, Evil Geniuses, as you said, have to get some sort of very complicated layered setup where they get the initiation. They want to stun, silence, you know, but in the middle of a team fight where you've already casted some abilities, that's going to be tough to do.
Oh, he has his own familiars now too, which is like one of the harder abilities to take.
Yeah, certainly. Fly's going to die too. So now YapzOr can use his familiars to help chase down the other familiars. Not that they...
Mid one's going to get an extra 200 gold there. I did think that was a very nice smoke by EG.
Yeah.
As Nisha becomes the Earthman himself, he's going to roll across very aggressively.
Can we see the win percentage again? I'm just curious how Dota looks at this game. Okay.
Now it's more in line with what...
Yeah. You feel that's about right?
I mean, that's what I thought it was 5 minutes ago, but now I think it's probably closer to like 75-25.
Yeah.
Maybe give it an extra 10%.
Shots out immediately. Manta's off the first silence.
Like,
No
he's got
puff fall.
E-Blade. Once he gets like E-Blade Scotty, like realistically, he's the scariest hero in the game, and he does the most damage.
Yeah. Even if they layer silences or something like that, he's still got his self E-Blade option.
I could see a way where they do layer that and they get a kill, but at some point he's gonna realize that he needs a BKB, and that makes him like absolute, as he just rolls back and forth.
They're going to get the Rolling Thunder out from Crit. Immediately shield crashes. No steal here. The Golem's going to be able to slow down. Evil Geniuses are TC standing and fighting. Zai immediately goes to the back line. BKB, they are going to get off the ultimate here while Crit managed to keep these heroes locked down for a long time, but the mid-1 BKB means that he can turn and fight. Really great control. I mean, Earth Spirit did what he could to go over to the back line. Looks like we're to see Puppey eventually die here.
And that was Nisha going in very aggressively. Like I said, he's going to find out in one fight that he needs BKB. And this might just be that fight, as Puppey did buy back. They're trying to protect the Roshan.
They don't have a buyback on Morphling. It's like they were trying to feign some confidence that I don't think they can take the fight without him.
Yeah.
Evil Geniuses are daring Secret as they push forward into the Shrine. They're going to try and get some vision control of this area.
They did layer it once. I mean, it's going to happen, right? Eventually, where you're going to catch him unawares like that.
I mean, Zai went to that back line and just like was controlling so much attention from the Drow Ranger, from the SF, that I was a bit surprised that that they were able to get that Nisha kill in the first place. But
yeah, because of that mistake now too, you're gonna give up this Aegis with the cheese, and this resets a lot of the game. Puppey bought back to try to deter them, but it wasn't even up yet, and without the Morphling available, like, Secret has fought 3 times without the Morph, and they've lost all 3 times. I still think, like, yeah, now he has the BKB queued up.
Yeah.
Because in this game before, it's like this really weird thing in Dota. You know, hold that thought as EG's waiting on top of this high ground here. Zai's gonna jump in onto Sumail.
Actually lands onto the SF. He pops his BKB, picks up the bounty rune. S4 in the back line. Look at that Dream Coil. Locking down the 4 of them. There's gonna be the BKB activated, but they're wasting so much time trying to kill S4. Meanwhile, Chris is controlling up everybody right now. YapzOr, the last shot to the high ground, is gonna be able to find him for the ultra kill.
He wants
on Sumail, and now a silent slowdown onto mid-1, who no longer has his BKB. What a setup from S4 with just a beautiful initiation that made the team fight for Evil Geniuses so damn easy.
Ooh. And they stacked up for the raises as well, and now EG are just... that was a really nice team fight. They baited on top of the high ground. They didn't even... this is a really confusing position from Secret because they don't have the Warlock ulti to stop the SF from just BKB popping his ult. And Zai keeps running into the SF, who right after getting stunned up, just pops his BKB, turns around.
Mid-1 popping his BKB and trying to chase down S4 means his magic immunity timing had no impact on the team fight whatsoever.
Yeah, now they're just in it. This is gonna likely be, this is why Drow strats are still very good, because you're gonna get double racks right now.
Yeah, you got a double damage, so that's gonna be 2 lanes of racks. They can't go for 3 because the tier 1 is actually still alive in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That it's not anymore though.
They sort of rushed that engagement. Considering like EG, they just sat on top of the high ground. They had Aegis cheese, plus you had no Warlock ulti to begin with. It wasn't even like you were fighting at your shrine. You took the fight up into the high ground like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the adjustment I think that Zai has to make is you have to stop rolling in on the SF.
Now you have to be almost like, you were super fearless at the start, but now you need to be a little bit more careful with what team fights you take.
Yeah, now that BKBs are up, you have to be a little bit more careful about how you take those. Like, because in the past, you could just go in and SF has to like pop Yules offensively or defensively. He's got Blade Mail, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But now it becomes an issue where, you know, he just goes in and dies in 2 seconds. Mid-1 now has a nullifier. So now they have a way of jumping on top of Sumail with the roll if they get the instant commitment from mid-1 at the same time. Then they can blow him up. So that's a pretty big item, but they still need... I feel like Nisha should have just gone BKB after the E-Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, going for the Scotty on top of that, I think is just...
And this now means that Evil Geniuses, net worth-wise, is in a fantastic position, and they can start preempting some of the late-game problems that they are going to be having. You said later on to the game, the BKBs, you're going to need the Scythe. Well, that's exactly what Sumail's building now, as he almost has it, in fact.
Yeah, he's had a very good game. From the laning phase on, finding kills around the map. As they're going to go for a smoke here, they want to try to utilize the Aegis. And Secret, I mean, they might have just missed out on their timing because their Morph still doesn't have BKB, and he's going to be like a full item behind it. Because the Hex will come out before that. And now I think it's really hard for him to play Dota. So you're going to see mid one here. They want to make the full wraparound. They don't want to go on the BKB target. And in fact, they're going to come through this bottom lane. They're trying to bait somebody to deal with Fly's familiars.
It's so common for people to play on that triangle area that they may be almost too far away if somebody shows to defend this push, but the sentry revealing the opposing sentry that's laid down means they know about the smoke to bottom.
It's fine, you know, you just you got full Hex now.
Yeah.
You desperately, you still need BKB on Morph. Like, I hold to the fact that if Morph has BKB right now, like, he just gets to go in, he can assault the back line, he'll make life easier for everybody, but without it,
do you think, let's say we just gave BKB right now, do you think, even with this kind of net worth difference, do you think he could still win the fight against EG? Because this is a pretty massive, we're seeing a lot of items being picked up now for EG.
Now you're in a really awkward position.
Yeah.
Like, the game has changed. Because you were assuming, or I was assuming, I guess incorrectly
even net worth, if they had BKB, like, they just run over the fight. Yeah.
Then I think it's genuinely pretty impossible for, I mean, look at their lineup. What is there that goes through the BKB?
Right.
Until you get Ags on Puck. But I don't think he really, like, would love to go Ags on Puck this game.
Yeah.
Like, I think he wants more of a defensive position.
And now Evil Genius is one step away from being able to claim Megas and presumably win this game against Secret. Solar Crest complete for the Visage. We've got Pango with Greaves, Crimson Guard, a Javelin as well, a Dro Ranger with BKB, Manta, Hurricane Pike, and this SF who's loaded up on items, who's just recently completed the Scythe of Ice. A lot of big changes. Meanwhile, you look at the Secret lineup and it's like, what are the latest items? Well, we're still working on that Scotty BKB. We're still, like, we have the Nullifier. That was one change that we haven't seen the impact of it.
Okay, so
the next team
he
fight.
skipped the Scotty, right?
Yep, and went straight to the BKB.
Okay,
so he's got this awkward...
It doesn't matter, because I think Nisha, if they lose this game, will be kicking himself and saying to himself, like, that was so silly.
I played it too greedy.
Yeah.
I tried to...
Let me say, every core player loves delaying BKB as long as they can. From personal experience, if you can get BKB like 6th item, you're rolling in it.
Yeah.
It's a very pump thing to do.
If I can do the 75-minute, 10-second BKB, ooh, yeah. It's
not even that. It's like, there's just something that I think everybody dislikes about having to get that item for whatever reason. It's not a cool item. It's a game-winning item. You know those like gyrocopters that go like drums BKB? Those guys are trying to win Dota. You know,
but the guys who go like S and Y, now I'm thinking about trying to get some other damage item.
Yeah, like
get some butterflies going.
But the best part about BKB is it enables the rest of your items. It allows you to use your E-Blade and be cool and get in and stuff like that.
It enables the rest of your team as well.
Yeah. So now he does have BKB, but the scary part for him is there's a Blink Hex on the enemy team.
Yeah.
And so Puppey's job right now becomes incredibly important. Like how Puppey backs up his team with the ulti.
Oh, the scythe being used here. Trying to blow him up as quick as possible. They've almost done. The Earth Spirit is almost evident again. S4 into the back line with a beautiful coil. They're finally going to finish off that Earth Spirit. Roll on in. Trying to finish up these heroes. Nisha with his BKB is managing to get out. Puppey drops the golem just to make sure the rest of his team will be able to retreat. But it's going to cost him his life as well. The 5 and the 3 position of Team Secret are now dead. They're going to have to defend 3 versus 5 against Evil Geniuses, who, again, are just one step away from Megas. I don't know how they're possibly going to be able to formulate some sort of defense here.
Yeah, there's no Warlock Golem either.
No BKB for 40 seconds, no Golem.
Nisha's got to be careful, as does go in on S4.
With the refraction, gives him a lot of leeway to play forward here, and just trying to get that one pick off that turns it into a 3 versus 4. Playing the front lines as well, knowing that he can't really give up a whole lot of objective damage here. But that tier 3 is going to fall probably in this next push as Arteezy just lays into it. The Scythe of Ice being used, a refraction, guards against it for a while. Now the jump in from mid one with his BKB activated with a Nullifier as well. It's almost enough to blow up the Dro Ranger for the E-Blade. Saves him with some mail. Now the cheese gets activated, and now they're going to turn on to Nisha, who gets a little bit far forward here. The Quell managed to catch mid one though, and they're going to try and focus on him. He does have another round of refraction, but doesn't have the time to use it. He'll use it on the next life though. as he does buy back immediately. Look at this Warlock slow. But Evil Geniuses get to the high ground and know that they can turn and potentially fight here as they still have all 5 up.
That was so well done. He got the E-Blade off at the very last second, baits him back in with the cheese. That mid one is in such a weird position where he all in to try to stop that push. Because maybe if you kill the Drow Ranger there, you get time to reset the fight. All heroes respawn, the game feels okay, but now Secret, they're in such a do or die position.
And with the cooldown and reduction as well, that E-Blade's always going to be up for the SF. The Scythe device is always going to be up.
I will say, I don't think I gave EG enough credit in this game. Because, I attribute a lot of it to, like, Nisha not getting BKB. But they played the team fights very well. I think Sumail is, like, on really good form right now.
What did Sumail do right in the team fights?
I feel like his item choice was great. Going for the Yules, going for, like, the
blink Yules, like, get the instant kill.
I think he's just found good farm on the map. The way that he plays the team fights, too, like, he's very patient. He lets Zai continue to come into him. And then he just kind of plays the backline with raising, like...
Theoretically, it's good versus Morphling, too, that build. Even though we never saw him get the pick off on Morphling, the Blink Yules is good against him, too.
Still, I think EG, rightfully so, they're just a little bit hesitant. You have so much map control, why not just wait for the next Roche?
Yeah, and we've got, is it going to be... Oh, God. This part of Dota is kind of fun for me now. It's like, which one's it going to be? It's Refresher Shard instead of
Which one would you prefer? Dude, the Ags on
I think the Ags on SF would be legit.
That's what I just thought too. Yeah,
but
really on anybody.
I think like almost, like I feel like 90% of the time you want the Refresher Shard over the Ags.
The SF Ags, the Dro Ags, the Visage, the Puck.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the Pango would be the worst.
Yeah, that's not even that bad.
Yeah. It's not like you have a Lycan on your team and you're like, oh, we gotta give our Lycan Ags.
Yeah. I feel like Refresher Shard, like 2 BKBs in the team fight. Is on Scythe's game winning like a secret jump. They're going to try and get the initiation, but they fail to. The Scythe, they immediately manage to kill Zai. Crit's going to try and roll in, stop this. Nisha still has his full BKB going out, but he has to retreat from all that damage from that Drow Ranger. S4 is going to try and pursue here. Sumail as well with the E-Blade going out. They have the Refresher down, but they try and blow him up, and they did him. Morphling immediately with a buyback, and the T8 not going to be saved by the E-Blade. He actually gets blown up by it, and now the Morphling is forced to defend without his semi-carry in mid one as the Raxes are about to fall and Mega Creeps available soon for Evil Geniuses. They'll finish it up and back up, and Secret are just going to call it here. They had 3 alive, but they know there's very little chance in them holding this game against EG. They're going to call it quits. Evil Geniuses take game 1 in this 2-game series.
It's very well done by them, and it all happened in such a hurry. Off of that failed fight, where they just got gone on, and then they went for the aggressive smoke to try to pick up the bounty runes.
Yeah.
They just walk up that hill, they get coiled by S4, who had very good positioning in that team fight too.
It felt like Sumail was oftentimes creating a lot of space for everybody else to do things. Whether it was like finding his pickoffs, or also like he was oftentimes being the one jumped on. And he still manages to do a lot of work in team fights.
And you see Nisha just like that face palm for a second. It's like,
yeah.
He had so much momentum in that game, and in those kinds of situations, I'm so used to seeing him close it out.
Yes.
That was like a rare misstep, I feel like, for him, but you learn from it. That's the game where you get glared at for a little bit and everybody is like, BKB.
You'll never make that mistake again.
You won't.
Because you feel so badly about it right now.
Yeah.
And Evil Geniuses, I mean, just really great comeback by them. Well done. Game 1 taken by Evil Geniuses, but of course Team Secret is no team to slouch on. It's going to be tough. Game 2, we'll see what happens. We go to the